Tired, dude. I went to the beach, dude. It took all the energy out of me.
No way.
Yeah, the ocean was rough.
Why is that? Oh, were you swimming?
Yeah, it was windy, and fucking beat me up. Got tossed around a bit.
You need a surfboard.
I know, I need a boogie board or something.
Yeah, a boogie board. They don't call it that anymore.
What do you mean? What do they call it? The little board.
Yeah, nobody's boogieing.
Nobody boogies anymore?
No.
Huh.
Boogieing's something of the past.
Wow. I need one of them short surfboards then.
It's called a skim board.
Skim board? Huh. I'm gonna ask the kids next time I'm there. What do you call that? See what
The
they
skim
say.
board's the one you run and jump on, but it's kind of a boogie board.
Yeah.
But I don't think they call it. I don't think they call it boogieing anymore.
That's what I need.
You need a surfboard, hydro surfboard. That's what you need. It's that one that lifts you up in the air.
Yeah.
That's what you need. So how is it down there by the beach?
Yeah, it's alright. I love going there. It's fun.
Right, I could do that every day.
I'm going tomorrow, too. I'm going to go real early in the morning, though, before everybody's there. Because I'm here by myself. I'm just going to get up and leave.
You're lucky.
Fuck, that's what I'm doing.
Oh.
Fucking leave before anybody gets there.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's what I would do. Get there real early. Have you ever been there at the crack of dawn and looked for shells like we used to in Florida when we were young?
I want to do that.
Yeah. It's like all the shell collectors. There's like probably old people that have a routine.
Yeah.
I mean, how many shells do they need? Come on. Leave some for someone else.
Yeah, they're bogus, man.
Every day they got to go gather them?
It's supposed to rain sometime tomorrow, I think. But I don't know what time. So I want to get there early before it all hits.
Right, I wouldn't blame you for that one. I would get something you could do on the beach, like a rebreather, so you could dive. We need to come up with a new beach game.
New beach thing. I was reading about Colorado passing this gun law and shit.
Yeah?
I'm sure you've heard about it.
No, I didn't.
Oh, it's this new gun law thing they came out with. And so I'm reading about it, and all the sheriffs are like, I'll go to jail before I enforce that. I'm like, dude, let's free up some jail cells for these guys, man, right?
What's the gun law?
It's like if you know somebody that's suicidal or something, or who's a danger to society, you can call the police on them and they can come take your gun.
Oh, man, you know how people are just going to do that for the hell of it because they don't like someone, and they're going to start shit with that.
Yeah.
It's like DCFS. If you were to call on your neighbor, say.
Yeah.
And you were to say, hey, I think they're abusing their kids over there. So they're like obligated to at least do some sort of a welfare check. Well, they don't have to disclose who called. So if it's found to be inaccurate, there's no recourse for the person who was called on to go after someone who is making a false allegation against them.
Well, what pisses me off is these cops, when something's a law, it's a law. If cops don't want to enforce the laws, then they need to quit. And if they need to go to jail for not enforcing the law, then sure. Throw them in jail. They don't get to decide what laws they want to enforce and not enforce. It's not the cops' job to do that.
I don't blame them for refusing to do it, because if you think about it like this, you're basically saying everyone out there has the ability.
What I'm saying, at least to investigate it is the deal.
Okay.
What my deal is cops don't have the right. Go to jail then if you don't want to enforce the law.
Here's my thought.
We're not arguing the law here. We're arguing whether or not the cops should enforce something that people we voted in and the governor signed it. It's a fucking law. You have to enforce it. You don't get to be the guy who now decides. You're not the Supreme Court cop who now decides the law ain't a law anymore.
You know why they don't want to do it?
Because you know why? Because they're making up their own rules. Because cops are lawbreakers. That's why.
No, here's why.
That's
because
why.
they're probably going to get 1 million calls a day now that you allow an average citizen to be partially a psychologist and police people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's happening.
We've let guns get to the point right now where we're irresponsible with them. And I guarantee the people that wrote the Second Amendment, if they knew how shit was going, they would have never fucking wrote it. Trust me.
Right.
We're irresponsible. And if you know some fucked up dude is going to go to some school and shoot it up and you have information, you should be able to fucking say something.
Okay, that's true. Now, here's
it's not the cops. The cops don't get to decide what they want to enforce and not enforce. That's bullshit.
So this law is basically saying if I call the cops, they have to go over and check on you. Well, that's pretty much what a normal citizen should do on a daily basis. They should these phone calls should be coming in. And are they or are they not? And they will check on you anyway. But if you make it easier, people are just going to use this out of retaliation. You know what I mean?
Well, that could be anything. That could be any law at this point, dude.
Right.
Any law could be done that way.
They should they should make you have a psychiatric evaluation and a better background check and to purchase a gun. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
Here's part of the problem. Part of the problem is this. We spend so much money on bullshit when we really should concentrate all our cash on health care. And if we had a better health care system where people who actually have some sort of mental illness could get treatment and medication or whatever they need, perhaps a lot of these things wouldn't happen because they're blaming it on an AK-47. There's 1 million AK-47s out there that aren't shooting people. But a few people that have lost their marbles get a hold of the gun and they shoot someone. Now, say AK-47s never existed, then they'd be using a hammer or whatever means of mass destruction they can come up with.
Wow.
I mean, you can't blame the gun. You have to blame the person. And if we're not getting health care, mental health care for these people, that's the issue. And, dude, I believe we're not. Here's why. I bet it's pretty expensive for mental health care. Most people in America can't even afford to go to the doctor for the flu right now and get medication with the insurance systems we have right now. It's almost impossible. There's thousands or millions even of people that aren't even getting any type of medical care at all. Well, it doesn't take very long before that the one person that needed that mental health care didn't get it, and here we are with the situation. And if you really want to look at it, it's not even an epidemic. It's a small number of deaths that happen by mass murder by some wacko that walks in a church. It's a small number compared to other type of deaths in this country. We overlook the real issues of death just for a few shootings. You know what I mean?
Well, you know this Dr. Gupta, Sanjay Gupta, he had a show on CNN the other day.
Yeah.
And the show he was talking about how we spend billions on health care and our life expectancy in this country is going down, where in other countries it's going up. Why is that, right? And then he tries to examine all these reasons why. Well, you know what? He never got to the real reason why. You know why? Because he can't admit it. Nobody wants to admit the real reason why is. You know what the real reason why is?
Why what?
Why we spend billions and no one has any good health care? Because a few people are skimming the money off the top and living in mansions on the fucking beach with the money.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's happening. Nobody wants to admit that, though. Nobody ever wants to come out and say, I mean, why didn't Sanjay Gupta, when he did a whole hour show on CNN about this, come out and say, you know what, it's rich bastards is the reason why.
Exactly.
It should all be nonprofit. None of these people should make a profit off our fucking money that goes to healthcare.
Right.
And people are skimming billions of dollars off the top of this money.
Oh, hell, for nothing, and they're getting nothing. Here's my
and we're
example.
getting no health care with the money we're putting in. We're not.
Right.
They're taking all the money and they're
Yeah.
building mansions on beachfronts all over the fucking country with the
When
money.
I was 20, I got a job and I had HMO insurance, and they took like $38 out of my check a month.
Yeah.
And here's what this covered. Absolutely fucking everything. I never paid a penny for shit. No medication,
Yeah.
no copay, no $25 whatever the fuck, initial whatever. I didn't pay shit. That $38 a month covered any kind of medical I needed. We're talking doctor visits, hospitalization, all covered. All prescriptions didn't cost me a penny. And now it went from that to, then it was a $25 copay. And I saw the shit going down the tubes because I was self-employed and purchasing my insurance myself. So most people just think, oh, my employer gets it. They don't even really pay attention to what they know so much is coming out of their check, and a lot of people might not pay attention to it. But once I saw that $25 copay thing, I was like, something's going to go south. Now it's like, fuck, $6,000 copay. I haven't spent $6,000 in my entire fucking life on myself at the fucking doctor. Why would I pay a copay of that every year when I don't even go to that bitch? I could see paying
They
$40
took
a month.
all our money and they skimmed it off the top. They didn't.
Mm-hmm.
They're not using it to help you. I can't even afford. I have health insurance that's great. I can't afford to go to the doctor.
I know, and you pay for it.
And I'm
That's the
paying
fucked up.
I'm paying $700 a month for health care, and I can't even go to the doctor.
I know, that's fucked up.
I mean, you think $700 a month, I could go now and then go to the doctor and get something checked. I went and got a stress test because I had pains in my chest.
Right?
They charged me $1,000 for the fucking stress test. When I'm paying
Whenever
$700 a month.
Whenever anyone says Obama was a good
You're getting
president,
some feedback, dude.
I say he fucked us up so bad with the insurance.
It wasn't him,
Unbelievable.
dude. It's these multi-billionaires who fucking run these companies.
But he didn't stop it.
Well, yeah, but why is it his job to stop it? It's not. Why didn't Gupta mention that these billionaires are fucking taking our money instead of helping us with their fucking healthcare? They're not helping us. Every executive at Humana is a piece of crap. Every executive at Cigna is a piece of garbage. That's what they are. They're loser-ass garbage is what they are. And you know what they're doing? They're taking our money. They're all millionaires, and they're taking our money for nothing. They don't do anything. They shouldn't make a dime over what a normal person fucking makes. They don't need to make millions of dollars. And all of this money goes to shareholders. It shouldn't be shareholders making money on our health. That's what it is. They're making money, and they have to turn a profit. And this makes the stocks go up. I mean, let's check Humana stock right now. Let's go online and look. Humana stock. Let's check. This is people making money off of me when the money should be going to my fucking health. Instead of, yeah, here it is. It's $253 a share for one share of this shit. Okay? It's fucking ridiculous. Ridiculous how much money these people are making off us.
Mm-hmm.
All because they're making a profit on our money instead of taking the money that they're making profits on and giving it to shareholders as dividends. The money should be going to pay for the bill to the doctor that I'm putting the money in.
Here's what we should do. This
It's
is the only way.
fucked up, dude. It's never going to get fixed when people like Sanjay Gupta doesn't mention that. Doesn't mention the real reason why he has a whole show about it. Doesn't even freaking mention it. It's a bunch of bullshit. And you have people like you have people like Donald Trump in office. What do you think? He's out there to help you, like your regular person? No, he's out there to hand out red hats to people that say "Make America Great Again." He don't care about America. He cares about making sure those rich people get tax breaks. That's all he cares about, dude.
Oh yeah.
And he did it. He put it through the biggest tax break for rich people this country's ever seen.
Right.
Dude, you're feeding back, so I'm gonna have to delete all this.
I'm feeding back.
Yeah, whatever you're doing with that mic.
Is it better?
Yeah, now it is. That's all he cared about, was getting that tax break. That's all he cared about. None of this other shit is all just frivolous bullshit to keep his supporters behind him, who are most of them are so stupid they don't know they don't know shit about what's going on. They just walk around with them red hats on like their life is going to get better. What do you think, he made your life better? Fuck no, he didn't. You think he cares about whether or not your gun is protected? He don't care. He was a Democrat for years. He wasn't even a Republican for years when he was in New York. He was probably against guns. He just gloms onto whatever makes his situation better. He don't care about anything that he says. None of that he cares about. He finds out what you care about, and he uses that to his advantage. That's all he does. Or any politician for that matter. I'm not saying he's any different. I'm just saying that's what he's doing, and you people got the wool pulled right over your eyes. I like to sit back and watch it and laugh.
Well, it's just going to happen.
Yeah. There's two things you'll always notice when Republicans are in power. Okay. Another thing that happens too, and it's starting to happen. After they've been in office about 2 years, gas prices just start climbing.
Yep.
And sure enough, look, we're going to have $4 gas again.
Right.
Every time, dude. Look what the average price of gas was when Bush was in office. It was like $4 a gallon every time.
Here's exactly why it happens too. What does Bush do for a living? Oil. Oh yeah. Why not make oil expensive? That's his business. Mm-hmm. What real estate too? Like I said, it tanks right now, which is good for the millionaires because they're going to buy up these foreclosures and this cheap-ass property.
Yeah.
Because they didn't tank. They're not tanking. Sure, they lost a little value on their house, but it's going to go back up. They're not losing their house. They're going to get advantage of the market.
Mm-hmm. Well, Republicans have to have a party where they just pick all these nitpicky bullshit like abortion and fucking guns. They have to do that. The wall, they have to find a whole group of stupid, gullible idiots to vote for them because they can't vote on cutting taxes for the rich. You can't run on that. I mean, that platform ain't going anywhere. Here's what I'll do, people. I'll cut all the taxes for all the rich people. Vote me in.
What they need to do
that don't fucking get you voted in.
Here's the start. They need to make a $500 cap on donations to campaigns.
There already is 500. It is 500. I think.
Is it?
Yeah,
some companies donate millions.
Well, that's different. You're right. It should be on everybody, but individuals can only donate so much.
Exactly. They're being influenced by cash. You know it.
That's true.
Come on.
That's true.
You know it. They invite him to some golf club. Dude owns his own golf course, and they talk about it while they're playing golf, how if I give you $10 million, you're going to make sure that we can still pollute the rivers, right?
Yeah. Or you'll give me a huge tax break that's worth fucking billions of dollars.
Right.
That's what you're going to do. You're going to give me these giant breaks in taxes. That's what they did. And
in exchange.
Yeah, fuck yeah. They made out, dude. If you look it up, how much it was in the trillions of dollars these people got in tax cuts. It's like, there's no reason for that. If there was a reason for it, we would have done it years ago. No other president did that except for Trump. And nobody even seems to mention it. You'd think these people wearing these red fucking ball caps would be upset about it. I'll tell you, man.
There's too many stupid older people that still believe our government cares. That's the problem. Until those people die, will we have any chance?
Yeah.
Here's an example. If you were to ask even someone in their 60s to even start, they don't even know a quarter of the functions on their phone. If you were to have them, I said to my daughter, she should start a business where she just comes to your house for like $25 and she shows you shit on your phone you never knew you could do. And then you'd be like amazed. And there's like three programs, 25, 50, and 75. It's the bronze, silver, and gold edition of how far she could go with it, because there's an unlimited amount of things that she could show you. And that generation of people is a little more aware of what's going on than our parents were. My parents are still in the dark about what the government's doing. They just, because they were born at a time where they believed in church and you should believe. You should be a believer, not a pessimist.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, how much crap can you go through before you have to say something? And it was real easy for them to figure this out, how to do it. Here's why my parents' generation believes. They didn't lose their insurance and all through their whole working.
Yeah. Or
time.
their retirement fund was all
Right.
there. Yeah.
They had the medical, they had all this shit for most of their working life.
Yeah.
And so they're not even seeing it.
Right.
And this other generation coming up, starting with ours, is lost all that stuff. But we actually saw it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they didn't even see it.
I didn't even know that shit existed.
Yeah, so they were never started out with any hope.
Right. No hope. I see a change where Republicans, as more old fucking dudes and white old fucking dudes croak,
Mm-hmm.
that party shrinks.
Oh, yeah.
And eventually it's going to fade to nothing because, they're going to run out of these people.
Thank God they are.
I mean, how many old fucking redneck morons can you get to vote for you once they all croak?
It's going to change this country a lot.
It is. And then you got a few multi-billionaire and millionaires who vote for him just because of the tax breaks. They don't care about guns. What do you think? Those people care about guns and abortion? Those millionaires and billionaires? They don't fucking give a shit. They probably prefer you have fucking abortion. They don't care.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care about your gun. They've used all that shit for so long to prop their fucking party up. Once people stop caring about that shit, it's like the next generation doesn't care about golf. Like, golf courses are like fucking empty because they don't want to watch crotchety old white men fucking play golf who are fucking angry when you're out there. I don't even want to play anymore.
There's another thing. Harley Davidson is seeing a decrease in sales because the younger generation thinks those are stupid bikes.
Yeah, they're driving Yamahas and shit.
And so Harley came up with a bicycle.
Yeah.
They're trying to get to the younger market. It's not a bad idea.
They don't know. No young person wants some crotchety old redneck fucking Harley.
Right. And here's what they see. The part school used to be a brainwashing system, and now it's not quite as bad as it used to be. But they're lacking in areas. Like when they teach history, I don't care if George Washington chopped down a cherry tree or not. There's no even real evidence that he did that. But we should teach the history of from 1970 till today. 1950 to 1970. We don't talk none about that shit because we would be teaching our new kids how bad they got fucked.
Yeah, how bad these people fucked them over time.
Right.
They have no
We
idea.
sprayed, right? And just to show, I tell my kids sometimes, I'll tell them some shit. Like, it makes me feel real old. We're sitting back and talking about shit, the environment or whatever. And I'm like, they used to spray the kids in the lunch, out of their lunch tables and outside with DDT, clouds of it because of mosquitoes. Mm-hmm. And they're like, what? And I show them pictures like the public pool. They're just spraying a big cloud over the kids. And they're like, oh, man. And my kids don't even know what DDT is. They never heard of that shit. But they both know that ain't right. So how stupid were the adults back then to do that? If my kid never heard of it, and she's 18, say, 17 at the time I showed her this, but she knew absolutely this was not a good thing to do.
Well, did you see on the news this week where they supposedly took a picture of a black hole? It's been all over the news.
Yeah.
It's like, my mom tells me this, right? And I go, well, I believe that about 2080. Like, that's real. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, most of the things that scientists said they did in the past were all wrong. You go back in history and look, everything they fucking said was wrong. It's like, so am I supposed to believe that's a black hole? Nah, I kind of do, but not very much. Because just because they're fucking scientists does not mean they know what the fuck they're doing or what they're looking at. They don't know.
I know, but
They don't know what the fuck that thing is they're looking at. They're calling it what they're calling it. But what I'm saying is, most of the time, these motherfuckers are wrong. They don't know shit about, just because you got a big thing next to your name that says you got this degree in this, that, and the other, that don't mean shit to me. I'll tell you that right now. Because I know more about shit than most people could imagine. And I don't have a degree.
We already talked about this. Nothing's fact. Everything's just your opinion based on what research you
That's
did.
right.
It doesn't make it a fact.
What I'm saying is the fact that everybody's getting all jumped for joy. Look what we found. I'm saying, hey, that's maybe 20% possibly a black hole. I'm giving maybe 20% shot on that being right, but most likely, if you go back in history and use history as a judge, it probably isn't. You fucking.
I wonder how much money it costs to actually video that or take a photo.
Stop fucking patting yourself on the back, because you don't really know what the fuck shit is, okay? There's something called the Russell Paradox I've been studying the last couple of weeks. It's like, people had this thing called set theory that was like, it's supposed to be firm and figured out, and these people figured this out a long time ago. Well, this guy named Russell came up with one thing, and it totally unraveled the whole fucking thing. And it's called Russell's Paradox. It's kind of an odd thing. It's the way he figured it out was about a barber. He visualized a barber in a town. He said, if you had a town and the barber shaved only people who couldn't shave themselves, who shaves the barber? That one little thing I just said unraveled 20 years of set theory. And what it means is, if you have a set, if you have all the sets of things that don't include itself in the set, is that set in that set? That's the whole problem, is the set of all things that aren't included in a set included in its own set. And that one statement I just made, because the truth of it is in the set and it isn't in the set. Both answers are right. And so that totally undid everything, because now you couldn't have these naive sets that are absolute. And one guy almost went in the nut house. He went in the nut house because he spent 20 years working on this set theory, and he thought he published books. He was the most famous dude in this. And when this one dude wrote him a letter, he said, dude, I love your work. You did a great job. But let me just tell you one thing about your thing that you wrote. It's not right because of this. And it unraveled everybody's idea of set theory. And so it just goes to show how little we know when it only takes one little thing like a barber who shaves everybody in the town to unravel fucking something. Who shaves the barber? The barber can't shave himself because he can only shave people who can't shave themselves.
Remember the Andy Griffith show?
Nobody. Maybe he just grows a long beard. That's my answer to the Russell Paradox. The barber gets a long beard.
Hey, remember the Andy Griffith show, right?
Vaguely.
I remember everyone was happy and straight except Odie, the drunk. He was the only married one in the whole town.
Wow. You know, it's funny. Everybody on the Andy Griffith show wasn't married. Think about that. I never noticed that because think about it. The barber wasn't married, right?
I know. They were
Barney
all happy,
wasn't married.
And nobody was married but Odie. And he was the drunk.
Wow, dude, I never thought of that, but that's true. Nobody else is fucking married. Dude. Gomer Pyle wasn't married.
None of them were married but Odie.
Yeah. Otis, right. Well, he hated being married so much he used to walk down to jail and lock himself up in the cell. He preferred being in jail than going home.
Yeah, right?
He let himself in the jail.
Hey, it turns out there's a major decline in weddings, too.
In marriage, and all that. Unless you're gay.
People aren't getting married.
I'm sure there's an
they're
uptick in gay marriage.
There's a lot of long-term relationships, but not
Yeah.
marriage involved.
They should just make marriage illegal. It doesn't make any sense anymore. In this modern world, it just doesn't have anything that it applies to.
I think what's happening is this. The cost of living is so high lately that, sure, there's people getting married that have money. They're having big fancy weddings, and that goes without saying. But the people who are, really worried about their finances are thinking, I could take that 10 grand or 20 grand and buy a car or two or a down payment on a house. And maybe we'll think about getting married in the future. Not that they don't want to. It's just that financially, for some people, it's not even feasible.
Well, and plus the options have grown. Like, years ago, you find someone that you finally love, and then you were looking in such a small pool of people. And so your ability to get out of that pool was difficult. Well, now the pool has grown to fucking unlimited number of people. You could go online and search for fucking dozens and thousands, millions of people. You got your pool of people to choose from it makes it harder to narrow it down too. You're like, there's always like a better option out there, it seems. It's like, hey, you're good, but we got to create. How we created a ranking system for. It's like we should create like a marriability ranking system. Like, you're like an 8 on the marriability ranking system. Like if it's a chick, it's like she gives a really good blowjob. She has a great job, 2 jobs in a row there. She fucking can cook and can somewhat clean. She gets like a 7.5. You got everything's in there. Like you put the kind of car they drive, fucking everything. How much credit card debt they got. Fucking.
When you meet a chick, you ask her a rating, and you're like, "Oh, you're way above me. Sorry,
I can't fucking date a 5, man. I'm only dating 7s and 7.5s.
If you're not compatible by number.
If your number isn't compatible, then this narrows it down so that you don't fucking. Unless you want someone lower, if you're really high and you just want someone you want to take care of, you look for a 2 or 3.
Maybe it was a law that you have to be the same number, okay? So then you're like, you meet a chick who's a 5 and you're a 7, so you have to lower what you're doing. Like you have to do some shady shit.
You got to prop her up.
Lower yourself to. One or the two. You're like, oh. I'll start doing drugs. That'll make me a 5.
Just pick something. God, here's another murder thing. I told you, these fucking guns suck. God, I'm so sick of this.
The problem with guns... See, let's get back to that subject. Someone posted some shit about assault weapons and mass destruction or whatever.
It don't have to be an assault weapon.
And I posted back, I probably shouldn't have, that we need to concentrate on the real issue that's mental health. Because statistically, handguns kill way more people every year than rifles do. So why aren't you going after the handguns first? Well, they don't cause mass destruction. Well, okay, fine. But statistically, more people die from handguns. So let's get rid of the handguns first. Sure, the rifle does more at one time, but is that a bigger issue than a handgun? Seeing how more people die from handguns? I mean, if that's what you're talking about, death here, we're not talking about how fast we could kill people, because then I would say bombs were the number 1 killer. I mean, we could just keep going on and on. The Scud missile would be, you know what I mean? It's just someone against. It's a racist agenda. Here's why. Because if you notice, whenever they mention a mass murder with a rifle, an AK-47, the very next thing they say after that is, a white man did it. It has nothing to do with the gun. It's a racist agenda to say that those rifles are bad. And they're using a white man as the reason. Because they say, look at all these murders, boom, 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 that were done by white men. And it's like, and it is a lot of them. A lot. Well, there are more white people too. But if you were to look up how many murders were happening from another group of people by other means, it could exceed that number by far of how many, like Sandy Cooks and this last one that happened in Florida and stuff like that. The murder rate every day from other sources than the AK-47 and a white guy walking in a church is way bigger. Nothing's mentioned about that. Like, 18 people were killed in a synagogue by some crazy white dude. And then they should say, but that's not as bad as the 50 people killed in Chicago from a black guy with a handgun. Black guys. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They don't ever say that. Shit, 18 people? That ain't bad. Chicago? That's like 2 days in Chicago. And this only happened once in Florida in the last whatever in that town. You know what I mean?
Well, it's all about what attracts our attention. You know, it's like, it's more about the entertainment value of it.
Do you believe we should get rid of access to guns? I mean, that's almost impossible at this point. And besides, even if you do that, this gentleman that I did work for, he was an airplane pilot, commercial. So he's pretty educated, you know. He's got money. He's got guns. He's a hunter. He says, you know what the problem with it is? He goes, they're going to take away your guns, and because the legitimate people like me follow the law. And if they make a law where I have to hand over my AK-47 or do whatever, I'm going to do that because I'm a law-abiding citizen. But then the real criminals who don't even have a legal gun, they're not going to. So we're going to open up a door for criminals to know how vulnerable the rest of us are. And it's just the crime's going to increase from it. The issue is mental health. Mm-hmm. Because I know plenty of guys with AK-47s, and they're not going to ever kill anyone with that gun. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So look at the numbers, not what's just happened. That's what people fuck up on. We should take the top killer and start there and work our way down. And it turns out it's probably mosquitoes.
It is mosquitoes.
Yeah. So why don't we concentrate a little bit harder on going after mosquitoes than the NRA?
Yeah. Well.
It's because people are stupid. We don't use numbers. That's our problem. Why don't we? We use what sounds
better.
We
use what sells commercial time. Or gets you elected.
If I was to tell you mosquitoes are a killer, if I tell you a mosquito is the number one killer, you almost form a cartoon picture of a mosquito in your head and turn it into some little fantasy and don't even realize this is the number one killer. But if I say an AK-47 killed 10 people in a church, you're all in crying the blues about the guns. Because it sounds real bad. A mosquito, little prick, you don't even know you're a bit, you die in bed. But when people get splattered all over the room, that death is way worse.
Yeah, if anything, McDonald's is killing more people than fucking guns, I'm sure.
Here's my thought. Trust me. Let's get to the root of the problem. Overall, since the beginning of mankind, the number one killer of humans was most likely religion. And isn't it kind of funny how people are getting killed in church? Let's get rid of church. We'll start there. All the religions are gone. See how many deaths we could save. We need to stop teaching our kids that religion's real to a whole group of humans that never even heard of fucking religion. And then it's going to change. Don't teach kids religion. Another thing I would quit teaching them is how to hunt, because hunting is stupid. Another thing I would teach them, I'm coming all from the same area of this country. I'm sure you're going to pick it. The states that begin with an A. Anyway, another thing we need to quit teaching our kids is racism, which is taught most likely by the parents. Another thing we need to quit teaching these kids is Wait, I had another good one. Shit. Oh, damn it. I can't even think of it now. Racism was one. Maybe that's the one I was on. We need to quit teaching racism.
Yeah. If you don't even bring it up, nobody even knows about it.
So these Klan members and all that's what I was saying. If we could get rid of these groups, which I agree, and I'm a white dude, supposedly. Technically I'm white, but I don't think I am. But anyway.
Well, there's no way they'd let me in the Ku Klux Klan.
Well, so what I'm saying is,
white.
if we could get rid of, eliminate those hate
I'm
groups
Italian, they wouldn't let me in there.
Where they're not teaching their kids to hate as well. It starts at the home. When you're in a white supremacy group or whatever, you're teaching your kids that, and it's embedded in their head over
just
years.
Like religion is. Religion is not something you're born with. Your parents force it on you, and then you follow it like a sheep in the group in the herd. That's all you are.
Mm-hmm.
They literally call them sheep. I think that it's like.
As soon as
they call it a flock, right? That's the truth. They do. There's a reason why they call it a flock.
Like I remember when we were in school, this was before the gay revolution or whatever you want to call it. Before it was people, no one admitted to being gay, you got bashed. And there was a lot of racism when we grew up, and there was more in my parents' generation. And then before that, there was like sitting on the back of the bus and different water fountains. It's gone through a transformation over years. I mean, and I think it's progressed pretty fucking fast, and no credit has been gone toward that. Now, I've noticed with my kids, I've probably said it on the show before, the teenagers that I raised, there wasn't a lot of there was no racism. People still made fun of each other for whatever, a little poking fun, but a lot more people got along, you never heard anyone say the N-word like in my kids' generation. It's like
when you move to a different place, they'll call something different. It's like, since I've been in Florida, like when they're reporting about gays on the radio, right? They call them queers.
They say queer?
I literally listened to this lady. She goes, yeah, this guy came out as queer. He was on the news. It's like, you can't, it's like, who calls them queer? It's like, is that even a word? I mean, right. I mean, it's a legitimate word, but it's just funny to hear a news person say that.
Hey,
came out as queer.
I was thinking of this the other day. Here's what I have to say about.
And that was on NPR too, dude. That wasn't even on like some fucking like Fox News or nothing.
Hey, here's what I have to say to our audience. If you're racist, God bless you. And I don't even believe in God, but that's the best thing I could say. If you're feeding back again. If you are against homosexuality or whatever you want to call it, being queer, being gay, well then you have to look in the mirror and say, who the fuck are you? The gays don't like you either. Yeah. So just mind your own goddamn
judging
business.
People,
How about
you
that?
Assholes.
Mind your own fucking
business. You Republican
business. Guess
assholes.
What?
That's what you are.
Your fucking asshole stinks the same as theirs. You're no different. Yeah. You're probably worse than they are. Most gay men I've met have their shit in order. They have nice clothes. They're clean.
They drive a nice.
So leave people. Let's try a whole year of everyone just worrying about their own fucking defects and see if they can fix them before they start talking about other people.
It's time to stop judging people.
And if you're perfect, if you're perfect, which I doubt, try to be more perfect and donate your time. Don't try to put down. You're not perfect if you're putting down someone else because you feel you're better. That makes you worse as far as I'm concerned. You should be helping them instead of hindering them.
Let's invent a word that describes, like, how they're calling people queer or they're calling someone this or calling someone. Right. Let's invent a word for people who judge everybody else and can't mind their own business. I call them pricks.
We'll call them.
That word's already been taken.
Yeah, here's the 2019 slogan. Mind your own fucking business, people. Are you that bored? Get a fucking hobby or fucking just go away and be one of those secluded fucks in the woods, dude.
Mind your own business. That's the slogan of our show. The slogan of our show is mind your own business.
If you don't have any constructive criticism, shut your fucking mouth.
Do something to help people. Stop criticizing people. You're no better than anybody.
I got a group. You know, you guys should all band together, and you guys should just punch each other in the face, because you all suck.
Listen, I don't think I'm better than anybody, and I am better than everybody.
Right?
That was funny, right?
I'm the real Slim Shady.
I am better than everybody, and I don't think I'm better than everybody. The fuck?
You want to be me, but you're not quite like me.
Oh, man.
You are better, dude. They stole our show. Some pirates. They thought they'd take our show and our name. Because they're not as fucking good as we are. And I love you because we're so good you want to be me. Everyone wants to be me.
If I could be like Mike. Stop judging.
Right? Stop judging. I don't know if I ever said this on the show, but I thought of making a commercial. I thought of making a commercial of a sweatshop with a little kid sewing a tennis shoe, and he's saying, "If I could be like Mike." And they're making Nikes in Indonesia or wherever the fuck for child slave labor.
Yeah. It's been going on for centuries, though. I mean, I was watching some show the other day, and they're like, back in 18-something, they passed a law where it was like a reforming era of the time, and they passed laws that said kids under 10 can no longer work. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So 10-year-olds had to go get a job?
Oh, yeah. If you look at the history of America, there's a lot of kids that worked in coal mines and all kinds of shit.
Yeah. That was common back then.
It wasn't even that long ago. Like,
it wasn't long ago.
This has drifted. Watch. Like, our grandparents, remember when they showed you how to mow the lawn? And they're like, your parents would drop you off so they could go to the park and have a picnic and hump in the bushes. Back when the sky was really blue and it smelled fresh outside. And they're like, your grandpa was real stern. Like, he had a system of mowing that he was taught in the army or wherever. And then your dad was the same way. He made you mow the lawn, but he really didn't care if you cut your foot off because he was sleeping on the couch in front of the Price is Right. And then my generation was like, I'm just going to mow the lawn because I hated when my parents made me mow their fucking lawn. Why should I have to mow it?
So in our generation, we just mowed the fucking lawn.
Yeah, and now the next generation is going to be like, who mows the lawn?
The next generation is like, who gives a fuck about the lawn?
The next generation doesn't even have a lawn yet.
They don't even give a fuck.
They live in a condo.
Yeah. They want a lawn like they want a hole in the head.
Right. Nobody even gives a fuck about a lawn. The lawn thing is going away, too.
It only took a couple generations to get rid of the lawn.
To people to realize that, why would I want an extra fucking job at home? Fucking stupid.
I got a fucking job. I want to come home and fucking work on my lawn.
I mean, think about it. Our parents' generation, the lawn is a huge weekly issue that has to be addressed. And it's on their mind, like, probably come Thursday, Friday.
Especially if it rained twice during the week and it's fucking growing out of control. It's like, the fuck is with the lawn? Dude, is someone going to mow this fucking lawn?
Right? I say we get rid of the fucking lawns.
Fuck lawns.
And we just put artificial turf in everywhere. And we use a leaf blower. We don't even blow them off. We just let it go.
What's Trump's generation going to do when he builds the wall and there's no Mexicans to mow the lawn? Is he fucking up? He's not thinking clearly, I don't think. I mean, who do you think's taking care of Mar-a-Lago's fucking... It's all fucking Mexicans. And he wants to build a wall.
Is, though?
He don't want that wall.
He
only wants to keep these fucking rednecks with the fucking red ball caps happy. That's all he cares about. He don't care about that fucking wall.
No, or it already
he
done.
don't give a shit. He's just trying to rile up all these fucking idiots. His idiot crew that that follows him around at his fucking rallies.
He can't say he's not going to do the wall. He's afraid they won't show up.
That wall was a farce.
What's going to happen to the lawns is these robotic lawnmowers and GPS or however they work nowadays are way better.
Robots are going to mow the lawn in the future.
There's some robotic lawnmowers right now, dude, that are just unbelievably accurate. Right. So that's who's
they can mow it like, you know how you're deciding, like when you're on the edge of your yard and you're not sure if you're going over in your neighbor's fucking yard a little bit? This fucking lawnmower goes on the dime where your fucking yard ends. It's got it by the millimeter. Instead, you're like mowing a couple extra rows because you're just not quite sure.
Well, first of all, look at this. We should try to push these. First of all, these are electric.
Yeah.
Okay? And they have a docking station. Right. And a lot of these rich fucking people I know have these lawn services come out and do their shit or whatever. And they just don't think twice about the money or any of it. But just the noise, the pollution. Because if you're worried about your car pollution, there's more pollution by lawnmowers and shit like that than cars because they're not as regulated.
Well, I mean, per item, but not overall.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we used all electric lawnmowers, say, that would knock the emissions in this country down. Well, look at all the
combines and shit are robotic. You know, farmers aren't even going to fucking do their fields because satellites are fucking controlling these combines, and they're just fucking doing the fields on their own.
These rich people, I'm surprised they don't have these robotic lawnmowers because they're paying a lot of money for a landscaper. And the noise and the, you know what I'm saying, the scheduling of it and everything. So they could just have 4 of these things docked in their backyard, boom, and it just mows the lawn on Wednesday.
If you're the long guy's banging your old lady, you don't have to fucking worry about that anymore.
I should try to sell these things. To every rich person I see. Get rid of the landscaping altogether. You got the trucks parked on this. It's the noise alone. Right?
You could become.
They even have trimmers and shit that could analyze if it's hitting a flower or a weed. Holy shit. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad that I live when I live because I don't know if I'm going to like how the future's fucking turning out. It's fucking grim. Grim reality.
Was there ever a good time? Can anyone just get along? What the fuck? You know what I mean? Everything's so much conflict.
I think it's something built in us where we gotta have some kind of conflict. It's like where did empathy go? You know, it's like people used to.
There's one way. There's only one
solution. Teach empathy in school, and now they don't.
Yeah. There's one solution to this problem, okay? It's a long-term, it would take a long time for this to happen, but it's the only solution. We need to get everyone together, do that ancestral DNA thing to find out what you really are, because people are saying, I'm Scottish? I didn't even know. I don't even know if that's real, or if they just put that in as a joke. Let's tell him he's Scottish. Anyway, so you find out exactly what you are. You put it in this computer system that mixes it, and then they make it a law that you have to reproduce with this certain woman based on this computer analysis. And after a while, we mix every race into
it's already
one
happening,
pool.
Dude. It's happening right now.
Till we're all
it's
equal.
Happening.
And then you can't say you're black or white or whatever. We're all one kind of person.
You know how like aliens all look the same? Eventually humans are all going to mix in a certain way, and they're all going to look the same. It's going to take time, but...
It's hard to say because there are those those super groups that stick with each other.
Yeah, but that's starting to fade. It only takes a little bit of mixing for that whole thing to unravel, dude. It don't even take much. It only takes a few, I'm talking 1,000 generations from now. You know what I'm saying?
And that would be the ultimate human. It would be a mix of everybody. Everybody's talents would be in one.
Well, who knows? That might cause us to become all like unable to reproduce or something. It's like because there won't be the genetic diversity that keeps where we just it could be just like our downfall. I mean, maybe this keeping it separate thing was like keeping humans alive. You don't know.
Could
you have
be.
no idea. There's no way to predict that. I mean,
all right.
We're just weird. We're just a
think
weird animal. It's like if you think about it, we're just like a goat or anything else. It's just we're a real weird fucking animal that fucking turned into something weird.
Well, check this out.
We're building fucking houses and driving in cars, and no other animal has any other remotely close thing to what we do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They don't have like a supermarket. Fucking monkeys don't.
Right.
It's like
they're building houses here in Denver
7-Eleven.
like crazy. Now, what's going to happen? There's going to be way too much housing.
what happens if
here's
like
why.
monkeys had like a white hen? It's like
Here's why.
fucking monkey
Remember
white
how
hen
they said the
pantry.
baby boomers is the huge generation of people that are going to need care, right? And then there would probably be a boom in old folks' homes and retirement places, nursing homes and such, because their generation before them was a lot less people, so of course you got to have more elderly care. Well, that's going to turn back the other way now, because that drifted down. Our generation's less, and then our kids, the number's gone down, and the number's going to really drop when it comes to my kids.
Well, that's what's happening in Japan right now.
Because no kids are being
there's
born
whole
like they
cities
were.
in Japan that are empty because all the people died, and they didn't remake people. They had a policy to slow the people down, and
that's what's going to happen here, dude.
Yeah.
I know it. I know it for a fact.
You could go to Japan in some of these remote villages, and they'll give you a fucking house. All you have to do is rehab it, and they'll give you the fucking house for free because nobody's living there. We should do that. You and me should just move there.
Here's how I know this is going to happen.
Let's fucking do it, dude. Let's move to Japan.
It doesn't take long. A couple
That's all it took for
generations
Japan. It
goes
took
by
2 generations.
fast. Dude, like 2 generations of home building here could go away in 2 generations of the future. My kids, and thereon will be a lot less people. I know it. Because kids,
Well,
I
it depends
remember
on if we curb the immigration.
our parents, okay, my grandparents, they all had a wife and kids. Couple kids, 3, 4, even 5, 6. You hear like my aunt had 8 kids. Then my parents' generation was like, oh, they had 1 or 2 kids, or sometimes 3 later in their second marriage. Then my generation was like a little less than that, maybe 1 or 2 kids. And now none of my kids are having kids, or friends are having kids. Like a little bit, but not a lot. You know what I mean? No one's got, by 26, 2 or 3 kids right now.
Yeah.
And back then, that wasn't even uncommon to be 26 and have 2 kids. Back when we were 26, if you had 2 kids, that wasn't a big deal. Everyone had 2 kids. Every one of your friends had a couple kids, or 4.
Right.
By 26, nobody 26 now has a kid, dude. Very small amount. It's going to plummet so fast, the housing market, because of that. There's going to be big buildings, like you said, just sitting there. They weren't even going to be able to rent them.
I got to go eat something. I'll call you back.
All right, bye.